Hi class, today we're going to look at creating two view controller codes. So we've been working on just one main.storyboard with one view controller. So if we go back to our files here, the main.storyboard is the visual component and the viewcontroller.swift is whatever code we have. So if we were to add another storyboard, another visual part of our program, let's say I'm just going to copy and paste this one. Oops. Copy, paste. I'll just go ahead and over here and go here. Let's say I go back to my first one, change the code, put some gibberish maybe. And what I want to do is whenever I go to the second main.storyboard, I want to see another file which is blank, separate from the coding file of the first view controller. So we're going to take a look at that. If we were to, we can actually just code in one single view controller code for the two apps, but it's better to have distinct files for each. Files because we have to create a file whenever we want to have distinct coding for each of our main.storyboards. So the first step is going to File, clicking New, File, going on the first option, which is a Cocoa Touch class, clicking Next, and we're going to look for UI view controller, which in my case is the default one. And I'm going to name my view controller second view controller. Going to click Next and Create. So as you can see, on my files, I have now another view controller called second view controller.swift. Let's go back to the main.storyboard. If I click my first one, I can see it's viewcontroller.swift. If I click my second one, it's still viewcontroller.swift. I want it to be the second one. So what I have to do is going to go to Utilities pane, clicking on my second main.storyboard, and heading over to our settings and changing the class. Here it says custom class. We have a UI view. Let me just check that I'm clicking the view controller. We have to sometimes click here, view controller. And right now, as a default, we have the view controller, the normal one, and we want the second one. So we're just going to scroll down, or scroll up in this case, and find the second view controller. And there we go. The default code, or the default coding file for my second main.storyboard scene is going to be the second view controller. And I have brand new code, which I can start adding gibberish, which will be different from my gibberish in my first one. So how does this work? So let's say I want to create an app that stores some data, the user inputted here, and expels the data later on in this main.storyboard. So let's try adding some objects. So in my first one, I'm going to go to the right and add a text field. Maybe I want the user to input their name. Close this for now, adding my buttons. So adding a placeholder maybe. Placeholder, I'm going to put name. Okay, and I want the user to input their name. And let's say for a reason, we're going to add a label. For some reason, we want the app to display their name with a hi there. So I'm going to add this label, make it bigger, center it. Delete whatever's inside the label, and add a button. And maybe call it hello. And my second button, let's call it store name maybe. I want to store the name for later use. And the next button is just going to take me to the next view controller. Next exercise, maybe exercise. And control clicking, show. It's just going to take me directly to the next view controller or main.storyboard. So I'm going to start creating my connections in my first view controller. So a connection for my text field, text name, a connection for my first button, button hello. Oh, that's an error. I have to change it to an action. So I'm going to right click, close the connection once more. I have some space here. My button hello. It's not an outlet, it's an action button. Type UI button, connect. And what I want to do whenever I click hello is change my label name, which I haven't created the connection for. Label name dot text is going to be equal to hello, comma, plus whatever the user inputs in text field, which is text name dot text plus, yeah, something like that. I think that's great. So we have an error here. Oh, string maybe. That's the error. Yeah, we have to convert it into a string, whatever the user inputted. Another error, unavailable string in it. So what am I doing wrong? Let me just remove this and just add the exclamation mark. Yeah, that's correct. I don't know why I added the string, because whatever the user inputted is text and will always be string, so yeah. So it will say hello and the name of the person that is inputted by the user. The other store name is going to be another button, store, which is an action UI button. And what I want to do is I want to store their name and spit it out in the next view controller. Since this class, this view controller, whatever code is here is restricted to this main.storyboard, we have to make a global variable. What is a global variable? It's just a variable that is outside the class. And how do we make it outside the class? We just type it in over the class, and we're just going to create a variable which is called var store. And in var store, what we're going to do here is we're going to make store equal to whatever the user has inputted right there in text name dot text. We have a store type annotation missing pattern. Oh, we have to make it equal to nothing. So it's just an empty string. Great. And now on to our next text field. Oops, we get another error. Oh, we have to add our exclamation mark. There we go. And on our next view controller, what we're going to do, we're going to have a button as well. We can even copy and paste one here. Check if we have some connections. We don't. And we call it is result of name. And whenever the user clicks this button, we want it to spit out in a label whatever we stored as a name. So I can even copy and paste our label here, but deleting any connections, references, or whatever. Yeah, we don't have anything right now. Great. We're going to create a connection for our label result. And for our button results, and whenever the user clicks the button, we're gonna change label result dot text equal to whatever variable store is, which we know is what the user inputted here and whatever click there. So let's try running this code now. I'm also gonna just add a back button just in case. I have no connections. Okay. Just gonna control drag to the past view controller. There we go. And we're gonna click run as iPhone 8. So we don't get any immediate errors. And here's our emulator. Okay, once it's loaded up, took a while. Once we have it running, let's try it out. Let's put Joe. Hello, Joe. Great. Let's put Marcelo, my name. Hello, Marcelo. That's great. But we want to store the name Marcelo for later use. So we're just going to click it and just keep adding some names. Andy. Hello. Sophia. Hello. Great. We're going to go on to the next exercise, and we get an output of whatever we stored in the previous view controller. So that's how to create two view controllers with two separate codes for each.